So yes, it was an affluent area, but the mindset that my mother and father took towards raising and building that home, building the mindset, it was, or building the culture of the home. This is why I'm so big on culture and why I'm so huge. And I get so annoyed when you're in a work environment and they don't create culture, they don't create cohesiveness, they don't create things that are going to be conducive to development. This is why I get so frustrated when those kinds of things don't happen, because I grew up in an environment where the home, the culture life was very much about leaving the victimhood mentality out here. We don't operate like that in the Crookshank household. That was the tone that my father set from day one, but not just my father, between my father and my mother. They set the tone of we don't operate in the victim mentality, right? That was the expectation going to Good Counsel. All right. And I went there based on, the football connections and having the football connections. But even that, when you play football at Good Counsel, the expectation is that you're going to play college football or you're going to college in some sort of way. That just was the expectation at the school that I attended. Right. So what happened was, I remember we were getting to be around that. It was getting to be around that time in which I was thinking about schools, I was thinking about colleges, and some of the typical high school stuff, high school things that I was a very impressionable kid in high school and all that, things that I was saying to my dad. I remember actually taking a walk with him, and I don't know why we were walking. We were walking somewhere. Normally, I didn't take walks with him. This is why it sticks out so much. See, me and my mother, we would go on hikes and walks and all that to so many different times. But me and my father, we wouldn't go on as many walks. Normally, our deep conversations would be through, practice, or him dropping me off to school or dropping me off to practice, and me and my mother would do the walks. But there was a time in which me and my father had a walk, and he's run his own business for years. I mean, incredibly intelligent guy. Sometimes I'm sure he looks at me and says, "Man, I'm not sure if I'm actually his," because he loves math. Like, he loves math. He's run his own architectural company for years, and I can't stand math. Like, me and math, anything that I do with math, I don't touch that. I don't touch that at all. I don't touch that at all. So I remember we were having a conversation about going to college and where I needed to be going, and he threw out some like Ivy League stuff, or he threw out some really substantial schools or well-known schools or whatever it is, and I was expressing to him how intimidating that may have sounded, or because of the school I went to and because of all the things I was learning at Good Counsel, certain schools are just hard to get into. If I was to get into this school, how can I keep up with the work? I was basically giving him that runaround, and he shut the shit down, man. He shut it down. He shut it down. He shut that down so quick. Let me tell you, he gave me his story because he graduated from Catholic University, and he remembers being told a lot of that same rhetoric when he was my age at the time. And then he tells me, look, I went to this school, I did this, I learned this, I did that, and look at me now. I was able to, establish a family, build a business, do all these things. And then he ended his story by basically saying, man, look, don't let anybody intimidate you with their diplomas and their degrees and their certifications or whatever it is they want to throw out to make themselves feel or look a little more smart than they actually are. That's what teaching's all about. That's what being accountable is all about. That's what having some actual integrity and some character and some and an ability to say, these are the things I want in my life. You being black have nothing to do with that, or white, or Hispanic, or whatever stereotypical bullshit that you guys like to throw out there. Actually having the work ethic, having the structure in home, and deciding that this is what you're going to do with your life, conditioning your mind to go out and get it, that's what gets you ahead. I'm living proof example of it. So all the nonsense that we see online, and we see a lot of it, a lot of the Black Lives Matter, all the stuff that they put out there to keep your kids, your people down, you have to get in the ear of these young people and remove that mentality as quick as possible, because you are losing. You're losing because there's somebody else out there who's out there removing and maybe they are victims. Maybe there's a circumstance or there's a situation in which they're part of that's not favorable to them. Maybe that is happening. They're not thinking about that. They're going about it every day as if they're not a victim, and they're just seeing what happens, and they're getting ahead of whoever is allowing the victim mentality to creep into their mind and make that to be the excuse for them not putting in the work.